What's life like inside the biggest prison on Earth? To find out, you don't have to commit any crime. You just have to be born in Gaza. This tiny strip of flat Palestinian land is surrounded by Egypt and the Mediterranean Sea to the south and west, and Israel, which has closed Gaza off to the outside world since the early 1990s. And most people, even other Palestinians, are not allowed to visit. Like many prisons, Gaza is overcrowded. Over 2 million people live on this tiny piece of land. But where did all these people come from? Well, about 70% of Gazans are refugees and their descendants. They were forced to move there when Israel took over their towns and villages around the time it was founded, 75 years ago, in May 1948. This event has gone down in history as the Nakba, the Arabic word for disaster. Israel has never allowed those Palestinians to go back, despite many of these towns and villages being a short drive or walking distance from Gaza. Israel actually went on to occupy Gaza itself in 1967, impose military rule on the people who lived there, and give part of its territory to Israeli settlers. In the early 90s, it imposed a closure policy on Gaza. Palestinians there could no longer leave without a time-restricted, hard-to-get permit. But it was in 2006 when things got really bad. Israel had pulled its soldiers and settlers out of Gaza the year before, while still controlling the borders, the airspace, and the economy. The Palestinian group Hamas, which has a military wing that fights the Israeli occupation, won Palestinian elections and took over Gaza. In response, Israel took its policies to the next level. The only power plant was bombed. Travel was banned. Most imports and exports were blocked, forcing most of Gaza's factories to shut down. Even medical supplies were restricted. These policies crushed Gaza's economy. It now has the highest unemployment rate in the world. More than half the people there live under the poverty line. In 2012, the United Nations said that if things didn't get better, Gaza would be unlivable by 2020. Instead, things got even worse. There have been several major military assaults by Israel on Gaza. Israel says the goal of these assaults is to limit Hamas's ability to fight, but thousands of civilians had been killed, and tens of thousands of homes destroyed in these assaults. And even when the assaults stop, supplies to rebuild are often prevented by Israel from entering the territory. About half of Gaza's population are children, meaning they've only ever known life under this blockade. They've never known a full day with electricity. They know when the bombing starts, there's nowhere for them to flee. They know that when they get older, they're probably not going to be able to find work. They likely will not be able to leave Gaza or meet Palestinians from other parts of their country. They know what it's like living in the world's biggest prison.